So, what does it actually mean to be alive? It sounds like such a simple question, right? But the line between something that's living and something that isn't, well, it can get surprisingly blurry. Let's dive in and see how we can untangle this. To see what I mean, let me throw a couple of puzzles at you. First, a crystal. It can grow over time, right? It gets bigger, more complex. So, is it alive? And then you have a mule. It's definitely an animal. It breathes, it moves, but it can't reproduce. Does that make it any less alive? Yeah, see, our gut feelings can get a little confused. All right, so let's start by looking at the most common, obvious answers for what makes something alive, and we'll see pretty quickly why they don't quite work on their own. Okay, the first thing that probably pops into everyone's head is growth. I mean, it's everywhere. A tiny seed becomes a huge tree. A baby grows into an adult. It feels like a fundamental part of being alive. But here's the wrinkle. Non-living things can grow too. Just look at that crystal again. It literally grows by adding new material to its structure, getting bigger and bigger. So if a baby grows and a crystal grows, well then growth can't be our only defining feature. So the answer to that question is a pretty clear no. Growth is definitely part of the story, but it's not the whole story. We gotta dig a little deeper. Okay, fine, what's next? Well, how about the ability to make more of your own kind? Reproduction. This one seems like a slam dunk, doesn't it? Living things make other living things. But as always, biology loves its exceptions. Think about worker bees. They're absolutely alive, and they're crucial for the hive, but they're sterile. And remember our mule? A strong, living animal that just can't have offspring. You'd never look at a mule and say it isn't alive. So if some things that are clearly alive can't reproduce, then reproduction, just like growth, isn't a perfect rule. It's common for sure, but it's not the defining feature. So, what are we missing? What are the real non-negotiables of life? And this brings us to the real heart of it all. We're going to look at the two features that scientists really point to as the bedrock of life. These are the characteristics that truly separate the living from the non-living. First up is metabolism. Now, I know that sounds like a heavy science term, but it's actually pretty simple. It's just all the chemical reactions happening inside an organism to keep it running. It's turning food into energy, building new cells, getting rid of waste. It's the constant internal hustle of being alive. And the scale here is just wow. At any given second, there are literally thousands of these chemical reactions happening inside every single living thing, from you and me to the tiniest little bacterium. It's a beehive of activity in there. And this is the key. A rock doesn't process energy. A crystal doesn't repair itself with complex chemical reactions. This internal, self-powering chemical engine is something you only find in living things. All right, our second defining feature is consciousness. And wait, before you think about philosophy and emotions, in biology, it's much simpler. It's just the ability to sense what's going on around you and react to it. And what's so cool is that this ability is universal across all life. You pull your hand away from a hot stove without even thinking. A plant on your windowsill will literally bend itself to get closer to the sunlight. Even a single-celled bacterium will actively swim toward a food source. This active response to the world, that's a universal sign of life. Okay, so we've looked at the ideas that don't quite work and the two big features that do. Now let's put all these pieces together to get the full picture. This really lays it out for us, doesn't it? Growth and reproduction, yeah, they're common, but they have major exceptions, so they're not reliable indicators on their own. But metabolism and consciousness, yes and yes, those are the true tests. If something has both of those, you can be pretty darn sure it's alive. So when scientists lay out the formal definition, they actually include all four. They're saying that the complete package, the ideal model of a living thing, does all of it. It processes energy, it responds to the world, it grows, and it reproduces. But here's the main takeaway, the most important thing to remember. While the full definition has all four, the two non-negotiables, the ones that really draw that line in the sand between life and non-life, are that internal chemical engine, metabolism, and that awareness of the outside world, consciousness. And that leaves us with a final kind of mind-bending thought to chew on. What about a sophisticated computer virus? Think about it. It can reproduce itself. It responds to its environment, like an antivirus program trying to stop it. You could even argue it processes energy using the computer's electricity. It really blurs the lines, huh? So, based on everything we've talked about, where does something like that fit? Is it just a complex piece of code, or is it getting close to something else?